Andy Hammerstein III.
One purpose of my book was to write a book that would show that his successes, and he's known for the big five here, Oklahoma Carousel, South Pacific King, and I, and The Sound of Music. But he wrote 42 shows before he even hooked up with Richard Rodgers. So the idea of him writing 60 shows in a lifetime is not something that's ever going to happen again. Those days are gone. You're never going to get a guy who will have made so many mistakes that he becomes as good as he becomes. During the time of Oklahoma Carousel, the only people that Rodgers and Hammerstein were competing against back then were Rodgers and Hammerstein. The shows would like stack up on Oklahoma Carousel. As Richard Rodgers put it when they met, what happened between Oscar and me was almost chemical. Put the right components together and an explosion takes place. Oscar and I hit it off from the day we started discussing the show. For one thing, I needed a little calm in my life after 23 hectic years, and when Oscar would say, "I'll meet you at 2:30, he was there at 2:30. That had never happened to me before. This poor man had been had a great career on the outside, but his interior collaboration was falling apart. Larry was drinking too much, he was tormented soul, he was just self-destructive, he was destroying himself. And whereas Oscar, while he was a complete failure on the outside, he was completely whole. He was completely whole. So when they got together, Oscar turned to the man who had had nothing but success, as a man who had nothing but failure for the last 10 years, and said, the words have to come first, because the words grow naturally out of the story. So the music should grow naturally out of the words. There's our order. Story, song, words, music. And Dick Rodgers said, fine. And to boil him down, past the 5 shows that he did, the things that he left us with are 3 very technical, interesting conventions. The first one, start your story right away. The second thing was the delayed gratification love song. This is like If I Loved You, or People Will Say We're in Love, or Make Believe I Love You, or a number of songs like this. They are basically, he was a romantic. He wrote boy meets girl, boy loses girl, boy gets girl back shows. And the third thing, which is the last thing, the point at which in Oscar Hammerstein's second career, where his reach and his grasp were as one, was in a song which he worked for 3 weeks on called The Soliloquy, from a show called Carousel, called My Boy Bill. This was his high point in his career. What it was a show song at its best. And what I mean by that is that it developed plot and character as it went along. In a sense, that's why I wrote this book, because I wanted to show where those operatic seeds to Oscar Hammerstein, the musical playwright, was planted. Thank you very much for coming.